Transition is the big challenge. How do you go from where we are with this chaos to something that makes more sense? You know, when there's total breakdown, say under war experiences, and there's total chaos and no money to circulate, they find something to use as a trading item. And so there's a lot of natural things that people will do. There will be people with silver and gold, and it will work out. That's why, although there will be a lot of planning, and some of the governments will get together, and I think that's fine, but it's not going to be easy to get even the 5 nations that are already talking about it to agree on the details. Because I think the big thing to deal with this, whether it's the United States returning to a gold standard or whether it's the creation of a gold standard worldwide, and that is getting people to agree on the most important question: what will the unit of account be? And up until 1971, the unit of account basically for the world, and it's continued in spite of its shortcomings, that the dollar was the unit of account. But originally it was a weight of silver and a weight of gold. But in 1971, that was destroyed. So that was why it was easy for many of us to say things don't look good. In time, this thing's going to just blow up and just really come crashing down. I guess the only surprise I have is that it lasted so long, and yet I'm still not saying, oh, I think it's here, next month it's going to happen. I don't think it's possible for people to make the predictions, and yet it's possible that an event can come up and something will happen. That's why you have to be prepared. But attack on our liberties can pop up rather quickly. Just think of the reaction to COVID. The attack on our liberties really just popped up, and the control with the social media, the loss of our First Amendment right, that has moved rapidly. So I think all the countries to get together to find a unit of account is not that easy. The other thing is, in a true standard, if you are going to be the central banker, you're saying, oh, we have it. We all agree that it's gold, and it has to be convertible. You can't say, well, you know, the dollar, we use the dollar as an example. Oh, the dollar now is worth $2,000. Your Federal Reserve, $2,000. Well, that's not going to be believable, is the problem. And we've dealt with this a lot. And, you know, we dealt with runaway continental dollar at the beginning of our history, and we had to start. And one thing the founders did was made it mandatory that the unit of account was going to be defined as a weight of precious metal, gold and silver. So that ushered in an age where they had something to hang their hat on. But the unit of account right now there is none. So this is the reason they're getting all these. If you come together as a group, sometimes that's more difficult than what is happening now. I love it when I hear, you know, the Saudis and somebody else just settled a big bill, so they sold a lot of oil and they took some gold for it. And that's an attack on the dollar when that happened. That's an easing in. It could be more gradualism that could happen. You know, we had a restoration of the gold standard in the 1870s after the Civil War. It took them a 3-year period. Our government promised not to run up huge deficits or run a warfare state, and it was a non-event. It went back to $20 an ounce, and it had been up to a couple $100. So this is a thing that can happen. We've done it before, and we will and can do it again. One thing that's interesting is why this is important is after World War I, the British went off the gold standard during the war, and I think all the countries did that. The British, they wanted to maintain the pound as the world currency. So they said, we're going back to making the pound convertible to gold. And they did that, but what they did was they made it at the previous price. It would be sort of like, oh, okay, everybody wants the gold standard again, gold standard again. Oh, okay, we'll make it convertible at $35 an ounce. Sure, that would last long. I think if people would have gathered up their Federal Reserve notes and take the gold instead. It's finding that amount, and that's why you need transition periods and an understanding, and the market has to be entered in this. This is also the reason I have advocated competing currencies where those kind of things can be worked out. Politicians and special interests, big banks and warmongers, they will not do the task that we need to have done to restore and produce a sound international currency.
Small ebook, big impact, the wealth tree. The only 4 ways that will make you financially free forever. Download it here for free.
You know, my suggestion is that even as difficult it is these days dealing with inflation and all the nonsense going on, is since gold was re-legalized in 1975, which was a big event, so that was a big positive event, because from 1933 all the way up to then, Americans weren't even allowed to own gold. That's how determined they were to control things. But anyway, in 75 it was re-legalized, and it's available now. That's why you hear it on television. Buy gold, things are in problem. So that's a very positive thing. And I think it's conceivable, even under these conditions, that individuals can go on their own gold standard. But they have to be frugal. They have to be willing to save. They have to be willing to work hard. But right now, one of the most disappointing things about this mess is that I grew up at a period of time where you rewarded children and kids and birthdays with some money to put in a savings account, even though it's $1 here, $1 there. Well, back then $1 was pretty valuable, but they learned to do it, so they were saving in Federal Reserve notes, and it wasn't too bad. But now, in this age of inflation and how it's gotten out of control, I have mixed feelings. Should I teach my kids and my grandkids? Okay, here's $1, put it in your piggy bank, keep it. It's going to be valuable. You might need it someday. Yeah, you keep it, and the next month, Dad, but I'll tell you, you said it was going to, I could use it. Yeah, it's worth 50 cents now. So that's hard. You can't do that. But let's say you have Federal Reserve notes and you're working and being frugal, saving your money, and you go out and take your Federal Reserve notes and buy a house and live in a house and have an investment there, and that house might, help protect against your inflation. At the same time, if you want to really save it in a piggy bank, buy gold coins. And I like silver coins, because they're not going to be so high in price psychologically. So in a way, if people put so much money here and they want to be protected by putting away some silver, and that is exactly what you're supposed to do with a real gold standard. You're supposed to have something behind that thing, and it has to be convertible. And in the old days, to the big test on whether we really are still on the gold standard, you should be able to walk into a bank, put down the amount of money, $35, give me the ounce of gold, or give me a silver dollar. Right now, and I remember the days where I put it down $1, I filled a Federal Reserve note $1 and got a silver dollar. Can you imagine when they say, I put my dollar down, give me my silver dollar? Yeah, there are $50 now if you're going to buy retail, one silver out. But anyway, there's a lot you can do, and self-sufficiency is very important. It's not like we don't have our freedoms. It's that we have become complacent and dependent on too many handouts. And of course, that's become astronomical since we've had this craziness on the protection of our borders and the welfare state, the warfare state. The spending is out of control. And one of these days, they're going to look at that $1 trillion interest payment per year. Anything that can get to $1 trillion in interest payment can go to $2 trillion too. So I think the information is out there. I think economic understanding, monetary understanding is far beyond of what the founders even knew back a couple hundred years ago. So the information is there. I think the integrity necessary and the willingness to find the information, because basically you're not going to get this information in a government school, and that's one of our problems, because they're not going to let you know the secret, because they say, what are you crazy people wanting to know about what the Fed's doing? And you have an audit of the Fed. That's just a waste of time. No, it would be very revealing if we knew exactly how much control the Federal Reserve had on how they manipulate the money internationally, financially. It would be an eye-opener. My belief is, I spent time on that, because if people had a true audit of it, they would say enough is enough. The other thing is, if they had a true audit of the Pentagon, they would also say this money's not going for national security interests. I mean, it's impossible to come to that conclusion when you look at all those expenditures. So there's a lot we can do. That's why my argument is, let's really work hard to protect our First Amendment so we can at least discuss these issues.